if I wanted to know philosophically what's the best defense of the existence of God, I wouldn't go ask a biblical scholar.
Could you comment on the statements made by Dr. Inston Brewer? My paraphrase: scholars don't go beyond the data, theologians do.
If you go back to my illustration about the creation mandate, the biblical scholar is going to stay in that passage and tenaciously stay in it, dealing only with the data that can be ferreted out of that passage. Systematic theologians, because they're approaching something topically, are going to feel very free to leave that passage and go to another to get information, to round out their understanding of the topic. So the biblical scholar doesn't want to go beyond what they can put their hands on exegetically. They're nuts and bolts people. That's the best way I can explain it. They're often great at taking things apart. They might be less good at putting things back together again. But even when they put them back together again, they're only going to use the data that they got as a result of taking things apart. They're not going to widen the search like a systematic theologian would. And my argument is that scholars like David Inston Brewer, and he should be giving lots of information, lots of data points to the systematic people so that they can do a better job in reassembling the data from this passage, data from another passage, data from the third passage, so that they can do a better job building their reconstruction, their topical reconstruction of whatever the topic is. But oftentimes these two groups are adversarial. They sort of want to pick at each other, just like in Inston Brewer's comment. And the systematic theologian can dish it out as well as take it too. I mean, if you go to academic conferences, you see a lot of this, both in terms of conversations you're having at book tables, to papers you're listening to, or Q&As. I think it's unfortunate. I wish the two worked together more closely. It's the rare individual that can work in the text, but that has biblical theology on the brain all the time. That's what you want. And then to be able to have the humility to hand that off. I've done the best I can with exegesis, with the theology that is discernible right here in this passage. And I'm going to hand it to you, Mr. Systematic Theologian, to put this in your toolbox. So the next time you lecture or write about this subject, you'll have a lot of good material to contribute to what you're doing.
Yeah, that's something that happens to people who are trying to find answers to difficult passages. They go to systematic theologians and do not find the help they are looking for.
It works the other way, though, too. I mean, if I wanted to know philosophically what's the best defense of the existence of God, I wouldn't go ask a biblical scholar. I would want to ask a systematic theologian or a philosophical theologian, because that's the kind of thing that they do. That's the question they entertain. They're not doing exegesis, they're doing theology, they're doing philosophy. They'll know how to frame the question in a certain way. They'll know how to ask the right questions. They'll know how to chase down the answers and eliminate the possibilities in ways that biblical scholars, the biblical nuts and bolts guy, will not.